Hey guys, Steve here, FitThatNation.com. Thanks for watching. Today I'm going to run through a pull-up regression video for you tutorial. So pull-ups, in my opinion, are the king of all upper body exercises. Uses so many muscles, not just your back and your shoulders, your biceps, your forearms, your grip, but your entire core. To do a proper and a good clean pull-up requires quite a bit of core strength. So the problem is, not only do most of us, 35 to 45 and beyond dads, not have upper body strength, we don't have much core strength, and that's from just years and years, even decades of sitting at a desk, sitting in our car, sitting on the couch, right? We haven't developed the strength, and that coupled with our lack of mobility. So we have weak entire midsections, not just our abdominal muscles, but our obliques, our lower back, our hamstrings. Everything's tight and weak, and so it's very hard to do a good clean pull-up. So I'm going to show you 10 different regressions, and I'm going to walk you through each one of them that will help you build the strength you can actually start using real pull-ups or chin-ups in your programming. Because in my experience, and I do a lot of pull work, and a lot of my program is revolved around pulling. So pulling like pull-ups and chin-ups and different variations. And so I do virtually no direct bicep work because I do so much pulling work. And so it's kind of your best bang for your buck. You're getting not only your entire upper back, mid back, your shoulders and your arms, but it's also giving you a great core workout. So we're going to take a look at 10 regressions that you can start using, even if you're a brand new to fitness or brand new to pulling or pull-ups. We're going to start with using a suspension trainer. We're going to use some heavy resistance bands, and then we're going to use a bench, and then we're going to use just a fixed bar, and then just some regressions straight up on a pull-up bar. So any fitness level, any strength level, you're going to find something that will help you progress and get stronger so you can eventually start doing regular pull-ups. All right, so we're going to start with the simplest of regressions using a suspension trainer. If you don't have one, that's fine. There's plenty of other ones that I'm going to show you here. But this allows you to modify the incline of your body, which dictates how much pressure, how much weight you're lifting, how much body weight you're lifting. So the steeper the incline, the harder it's going to be, the more you're going to have to challenge yourself. You can work all the way down to almost flat or flat on the ground while you're rowing. Otherwise, you can come close to standing straight up if you don't have a whole lot of strength, upper body strength. So somewhere in the middle is probably a good place to start, like a 45-degree angle. So let's take a look. So a couple of cues there. You want to be as stiff as possible. So that means tightening up everything from here to here, squeezing the quads, the glutes, the midsection. So we want to be flat as a board. You don't want your back dropping out this way here. I don't know if you can see that in the video here, but your back dropping out. So stiff as possible. We're going to row back here about 45 degrees. So we want to leave a little bit of space in here between. So we don't want to be super close when we're rowing, and we don't want to be flared out here. So we want to be kind of in the middle here. And so we're going to come up to about here, okay? What I see a lot is people rowing, and they come up so far that their wrists are turned in. So all we need to do is come to there, out slowly, okay? That's a good place to start. All right, our next few regressions are going to take place over here. So I've got a half rack here set up. You probably don't have a half rack. If you don't go to a gym, you probably don't have one in your house. So if you have a half rack, use it. Just set the bar pretty low, just like this. If not, you can really find anything. I mean, I've seen people use chairs or even two tables with a broom or something sturdy that they can actually do this off of. So there's actually a bunch of ways to do it. So anything like this works. So the first one is going to be a modified version here, and we're going to have kind of up in a tabletop position. So my hips are going to be raised. It's going to take some of the pressure off of my back and my arms, and it's going to shift it down to my lower body so it's a little bit easier. All right, first you may have noticed that I shifted my grip from a full grip to an underhand grip. Either way is fine, whatever's more comfortable really. So I kept my hips up, glutes were tight, core was tight. I don't need to come up and touch my chest. It's actually kind of hard to do that, to bring it all the way back, and it's not even necessary. So, you know, a good amount, you're gonna bring that up, bring those shoulder blades back together. So as you come up, you're drawing those shoulder blades back together. All right, this next one I'm just gonna be flat out, so it's a little bit more difficult than the last one. My body is gonna be straight out, and all my weight's gonna be shifted evenly on my body, on my heels. So again, stiff as a board, kind of like when we're doing the rows with the suspension trainer. Body should be tight. You should really make sure you avoid dropping those hips at all. You want to be very rigid throughout. So now we're going to do another step up from that, which is just going to be a feet elevated inverted row. So I just grabbed my tire that I use for my tire sled. You can adjust the height, obviously. The higher you put your feet, the harder it's going to be for you. All right guys, so next up we're gonna do some band work here. So if you belong to a gym, most gyms have a set of these ranging from pretty light to pretty heavy. If not, you can order one. This is actually a great investment, not just for helping you with pull-ups, but it actually has a ton of uses. And you know, I'll probably actually shoot a video about that at some point pretty soon. But grab one of these bands, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna set it up on a couple of fixed bars here. Doesn't matter what you use, but make sure it is secure. All right, so we're gonna go low first. We're gonna use a couple different band positions. This is the easiest. I'm also gonna use a close grip. We'll call it a pull-up, a chin-up. This is a chin-up, this is a pull-up, this is somewhere in the middle, so whatever you wanna call it, doesn't matter. This is going to be probably the easiest for 90% of you, 95% of you guys. This is going to be the easiest grip. We're going to be using the most bicep here, okay? This one's going to be close. Also, this one's going to be the hardest. We're going to get set up on this. So that's a pretty simple way to start as well. A little bit of struggle on the up when you're doing the concentric, which is coming up. The eccentric, which has been coming down, you're using very little strength. So this is definitely more of a beginner setup. And actually, the lower you bring that band, the harder it is. Obviously, if you go too low, you can't step on it. But if you come too high, it's going to make it obviously difficult. But if you kind of find it in the middle, this is on the lower end here. If I brought it up like 2 notches, it would take a lot more weight off and make it easier for me. So that's one way. If that's still too difficult, and for some of you that haven't done a pull-up in years or maybe have never done a pull-up, you can even start a little bit higher. So you're only lifting a small percentage of your body weight. All right, next up, we're going to go back to the band here. This time I'm going to actually loop it around the top of the bar so any fixed beam will work. And then we're going to do it single leg and double leg. Actually, we're going to do single knee and double knee. Just going to loop this over, drop it through. A couple things to note here. One, if you're wearing shorts like I am, this thing's probably going to catch on your leg hair, so be mindful of that. It's probably a little more comfortable with pants. And then getting into it. You're going to have to use a decent amount of strength to actually pull that band down so you can get situated inside the band. So it can be a little awkward. Yeah. All right, so I've got one knee in. It's pretty well in there. I'm going to take that same grip. We're going to let that snap out, just only hit you in the face. This is actually a step up from the low band. This is definitely more challenging. I felt it. Make sure you come all the way up. So when you're coming up, come up as high as you can. Come down slowly to a dead hang. No, you don't want, 3/4 pull-ups. All the way down. Really recruit those muscles back there, and then draw those shoulder blades back. All right, so next I'm just gonna do a double knee. It's a little harder to get into the band, but it's gonna actually be a little bit easier. Once you're in the band, it's a little bit easier to pull up your weight. You saw it was a little bit awkward to get, even for me, it was a little bit awkward to get in there. So you may have a little bit of a difficult time with it. And you probably also saw that when I got in there, my body started swinging all around, so I had to stabilize it. So wait till you're stabilized before you start doing your pull-ups. All right, now we're gonna do our bench assisted. So I actually have a bench here, set up on an incline because I'm just gonna rest my feet on it. So you can use anything really to hold you up here. So we're gonna get into like a modified row. We're going to be suspended. It's going to be a little more challenging than being on the ground. Feet up. Nice and tight. Again, keeping this tight. As your arms start to get tired, you can shift your weight to start pushing off with your legs a little bit more to help you get through it. All right, next up, we're gonna do negatives. So no equipment, you don't need a pull-up bar. I've actually, for years, I've used at a park, any kind of monkey bars, beams, really anything to hang from. So the idea of the negative is to jump up, right? So you're not lifting yourself, you're actually jumping into position as high as you can, chin over the bar if you can, and then as slow as you can, whether it's 2 seconds, 5 seconds, or 30 seconds, lower yourself all the way to the ground, relax, do it again. Obviously, the slower the better, that's the goal. We're gonna jump. Practice that. Next up, we're gonna do something that's a bit more challenging than the negatives, and that's your isometric hold at the top of the position. So, don't feel bad if you hold it for 5, 6, 7 seconds, 10 seconds. Looks kind of easy. It's not. It requires a lot of strength, and you'll notice within a few seconds this will start shaking. It'll start shaking because your core likely isn't strong enough to maintain that position and keep that upright position in proper form. So you'll start shaking a little bit. But again, just work up to it. 5 seconds. We'll go to 10 seconds to 30 seconds and on. So we're going to jump up again. So I'm not pulling myself up. I'm jumping to the top. I'm holding it again. Start here is probably the easiest. This is probably going to be the most challenging. the best you can.